Thank you for inviting me for this interview. First question I would like to answer is in which framework program have you started working and which of them you contributed to? I started in '74. I started at GRC ISPRA actually. So 18 years in Italy, followed by 22 years in Brussels. So that makes 40 years altogether. Focusing on ISPRA first, I started as a little student, a PhD student with a very low salary at that time. That was 1/3 of the standard engineer salary in Belgium, but as my wife and me loved to go to the Lago Maggiore, we did not hesitate, and that is how I started. And then I got a position in GRC, and I started as a PhD expert in nuclear safety, fast reactor safety in particular. Then in '92, ISPRA stopped all nuclear activities, and we moved 3 children in the meantime all together to Brussels. First framework program experience was FP3, actually a very interesting experience because I was in charge of a budget of 13 million ECUs at that time, out of a total of 62. That means a multiplication factor of 5, and that is very important for me to stress the role of the multiplication factor we could have. With 1 unit, we could at that time get a program worth 5 times more. I must confess, multiplication factor for me is a kind of efficiency criterion for all EC officials. We should aim at having that as the main goal. How do we manage to multiply the little money we get for our framework programs? And then, of course, I participated in all follow-up programs, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Horizon 2020 just at the start of it. I participated in particular through the organization of conferences, FISA, so-called FISA conferences. FISA means fission safety. Every 2 years we reported to the scientific community in the broad sense, European as well as non-European of course, about results obtained in nuclear safety, radiation protection, and waste management. That was a tradition that I started in '95 and that continues today. That is how I participated in framework program actions. Next question is how framework programs have served EU research policies. This is an important question. I would like to say that before talking about EU research policies, we should analyze what Jacques Delors called the main criterion of any EU activity, and that is what are the needs, what is the vision, and what are the instruments to implement any EU policy. The needs of EU research are quite clear. That is a need to defragment the many actions all over the European member states. That is the need to aim at excellence because of the global context. There is a big competition amongst various continents, not to mention the emerging countries, the BRIC countries, and others. A number of needs also at very local level, citizens' needs, industry needs, that we should collect in a kind of big data service. What is the vision? The vision of the Commission, the vision of Euratom in particular, could be split in 2 views. First, we should coordinate. Second, we should go for cooperation. Coordination of existing actions is an important task, but is what I would call a kind of secretariat task. Maybe not that stimulating as the second vision, which is cooperation. But nevertheless, we should keep the two objectives together. Coordination is indeed what is very much in the mood right now. We go for that kind of objective all over RTD. Coordination has one drawback, and that is that it could look like the Commission adding a layer of complexity in an existing process. If member states want to coordinate, they will do it sowieso. They do not need the Commission. That could mean an additional layer of entropy in the system, which is not needed. Whereas cooperation is much more, to me at least, stimulating for the member states and for the Commission staff. Whenever we talk about cooperation, we insist on the proactive role of the EC officers and of the Commission as a whole. We should be able to identify the brilliant people, the poles of excellence in the European Union, and then drive them to us and help them collect a group of experts around them. That is a little bit the ERC approach, which personally I like very much. So we have discussed analysis of needs, we have discussed vision, now instruments, very, very important. Instruments are framework programs, instruments are platforms, instruments are a number of interesting tools that the Commission indeed has invented over the last years. Platforms, we could say a few words about platforms. The famous European technology platforms are there to coordinate. They will not per se go for excellence. They will focus on coordinating existing actions, and that is their role. However, we should put maybe more constraints on the platforms. We should ask them to deliver not only yearly reports, but to show us to what extent they have indeed merged together countries or laboratories which would not have merged without that. In summary, only if we get the three issues correct, analysis of needs, common vision, and the right implementation instruments, we will be successful in any policy, including the RTD policy.